webinar that I hold through the KO17 Lacrosse app and are constructed into this Dream On podcast you have found here. I hope you are gaining some insight from these episodes from some of the people that I have met throughout my lacrosse journey that have imposed so much of their wisdom on me. If you're loving our episodes so far, show us some love in the reviews and rate us 5 stars. Also, be sure to SUBSCRIBE. It would mean the world to us. All right, we've got another special guest this week, and I am so pumped to get right into it. Allie Drake is just entering her senior year at Drexel in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and she's simultaneously a year out of her ACL surgery from an injury that she endured on the first day of fall ball practice last year. She's absolutely crushed this journey back to the field, and she has a ton of inspiring words to say about the process in this episode. I hope if any of you are going through a difficult time that her words can help you through. Other than her inspiring comeback journey, Allie is involved with really unique studies at Drexel, truly enjoys being around teammates and friends, and tries to play the game we all love with joy and freedom. She also is the mastermind who designed and created the social media graphics you see on our Dream On Instagram. Throughout this conversation, we really get to know who Allie is and how she came to be the elusive lacrosse player and multi-layered successful person that she is today. I hope you enjoy. All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of the Dream On podcast. I'm your host, Kylie Omiller, and today we have our second episode of the KO17 Athletes season, which is actually season 4 of this podcast, which is crazy, in my opinion. It was something we started as just Zoom conversations in, the midst of COVID when everyone couldn't really connect in person, and we got to do this over Zoom. So now that it's a podcast that you all listen to, thank you for sticking with us all the way into season 4. Today, our special guest is Allie Drake. She is one of our KO17 sponsored athletes. She plays lacrosse at Drexel. She's an attacker. She's from Easton, Pennsylvania, and she played for Triple Threat, the club program in Pennsylvania. So, I am very excited to have you here, Allie. We have a lot to chat about today, but first and foremost, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Awesome. All right. So we always like to start before we get into the lacrosse questions and really just kind of like your journey. I always like to get a feel for where you're at right now in this moment today, how your day is going, all that good stuff. So we're going off to a good start. So what is something that you are thankful for today, Allie?
Ooh, I'd have to say the weather. It's been so nice out compared to last week. It was so gloomy and cold, and I can't be happier with the weather, especially since it's October.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice and warm there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know. I've been kind of like, it feels like mid-July in the middle of October, but
I know.
For reference, it is Friday, October 6th at about 2 p.m. That's where we're talking about our weather right now. What is something that you're proud to say that you've accomplished so far today?
Well, I did do 1v1s for the first time again since my ACL injury, which I was a little nervous for. But I'm really happy that I did it, and it went fine. It went well. So.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to dive into that. That's probably something that's been on your brain for months, right? That particular drill.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah. Right.
But we'll definitely dive into that ACL process. I know a lot of our listeners are going through something, whether it's ACL or some sort of injury. We're going to get a lot of inspiration from our friend Allie here today. Last but not least, though, what is something that you're pumped to go chase? It could be, the rest of today, this weekend, could be in the coming months. What's something that you're pumped to chase?
Yeah, so I'd just say like fall ball and really enjoying the moment with my team because it could be potentially my last year playing fall ball. So I'm excited for the tournaments we have. We have one coming up this weekend at Loyola. So it'll be my first tournament back. So definitely excited to start that journey as well.
So exciting. We caught you in a very exciting time.
Yeah.
Right? It's so fun. When do you leave for that? Tomorrow?
I think we're heading up Sunday. It's not too far from Philly, so shouldn't be that bad of a drive.
Sweet. Well, are you playing just Loyola or are you playing a couple teams?
We're playing Towson as well and Penn too.
Very cool. Okay, awesome. Well, I'm excited to hear about how that all goes, but I think you're going to crush it. We were just talking about that off air, but all right. So where we're at now, we were just mentioning, right? Like this could potentially be your last year playing lacrosse at Drexel. You are, kind of coming off an ACL injury that happened last year. So when it comes to like where you're at right now in the midst of your life, it's beginning of October. Tell us about what you've got going on lately. What does a typical day in your life look like?
Yeah, so since fall ball kind of picked up, that's basically what's going on right now. But in terms of school, it's my senior year, so I have senior project. I'm working on a team with other people, and we're working on developing an app for the whole year. So it's mainly focusing on that, taking some electives, going to practice, lift, having meetings, trying to figure out what my next year looks like in terms of job search or if I want to stay. And it's kind of like a whirlwind of things, but having options is good right now for me. So I'm just trying to enjoy the moments with my roommates because they're also seniors as well. And just, having a great fall.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, all the unknowns, right? But they're really fun unknowns. So that's really exciting. Can you talk a little bit about, you mentioned how you and your team are kind of have a senior project, right? I think something that's different at Drexel compared to a lot of different universities is the way that you guys take classes and go into co-ops and do different things. So can you explain a little bit about, for our listeners, if they don't know what academics look like at Drexel?
Yeah, of course. So Drexel is a little bit different. We do trimesters instead of semesters. And we start really late in the fall. So we started like September 26th and we go until about June. And so my major is called user experience and interaction design. So it has to do with a lot of design, developing websites or apps or just experiences in general. And research has a big part of that too. So understanding like your users and the product that you're creating for them. So it's definitely really interesting. And for co-op, we have a 5-year plan at Drexel with 3 co-ops. And after your freshman year, you'll have your co-op every spring, summer. And then you'll be interviewing for your co-op around the fall. So maybe like mid-October, you'll start applying for jobs in the Drexel database. They partner with a lot of companies, whether that's in the city, international, remote, really anywhere. So you get granted for interviews. You do your interviews over the winter, and then sometime in January, you'll find out whether or not you have the job. And then you start sometime in like the spring. So like you're doing class from fall, winter, and then doing co-op spring, summer. And it's kind of like a whole year round type thing. So we start our co-op right in the middle of our lacrosse season. So while other schools are done with school and maybe they've taken their finals for their last semester, we're going to practice, going to lift, and then we're going to our 9 to 5 job. And that'll last around up until September, up until the first day of school again. So it's definitely something to get adjusted to, but in the end, it really helps your resume and your portfolio and kind of sets us up for success. And that's a reason why a lot of people come here to Drexel to get that experience out in their fields and kind of understand what they like and what they might not like when it comes to their careers and what they're doing. So that was kind of like a long spiel of it.
No, that was awesome. I think that's really important for people to know. Especially one, if like Drexel's on their list of schools that they're looking for, right? But also just like knowing that there's those kinds of options out there for your education. I think that's something that I didn't know until I got to chat with you, right? When you became a KO17 athlete. So I think it's really exciting. And it's really interesting that you guys do it that way. Like you said, it's preparing you for quote unquote real world, right? After you're done with college and college lacrosse. So I think that's really, really great. So can you talk a little bit, let's go back a couple years, just a couple years. Let's talk about your journey a little bit. So how you ended up at Drexel, where you, kind of started originally. So you grew up in Easton in Pennsylvania. What was your introduction to sports in general like? And then how did you get into lacrosse?
Yeah, so I was always pretty athletic. When I was younger, both of my parents played sports. They did soccer. So that was one of the first sports I started out doing. And I have a twin brother and an older sister, and we're kind of close in age. So we've always just grown up playing sports together, and that's kind of just how it went. So I did like soccer, softball, swim, cheering. I was a big cheerleader for a couple of years until I probably got into middle school. And that's when my sister wanted to join the lacrosse team in 8th grade, and I was in 5th grade, and all of my friends were doing it. And I was like, well, I want to do it too. So that's kind of where I was introduced to the sport. And I ended up really enjoying kind of the competitive nature of it, being able to work together, and the high paced nature of it. Um, I wasn't very good at first, but I thought, it's hard to like adapt to at first. It's hard to learn. But I saw that as a challenge, and I enjoy challenges and taking them on. So that's kind of where I immediately fell in love with it. And then I think I had to decide whether or not to play lacrosse or soccer. So I was playing club soccer, and it was just too much at one point. So I think right around high school, I decided to just pursue lacrosse. I felt like I had potential to grow if I had the right coach, or if I had the right facilities, or just the right people around me that had the same growth mindset as me. And I really enjoyed that aspect. So I think that's when I started playing club, maybe my sophomore year of high school. So I was a little late to the game, but playing club kind of allowed me to see what else was out there in terms of skill and lacrosse and other hot spots. And I think that kind of opened my eyes to like, wow, like there's so much potential to grow here, and play with other people who are so skilled. So I kind of just took that and ran with it.
That's awesome. I think you mentioned something that kind of comes up a lot often when it comes to talking to younger players or younger parents, right? And that was that you didn't get into club lacrosse until your sophomore year of high school, right? I'm sure you get asked about this all the time, but if there's someone listening out there that has questions about that, like, oh, is that too late? Is it, what would your advice be for someone who might be in a similar situation where they're just starting to fall in love with lacrosse and they feel as if it's too late, quote unquote, for the curve, right? And for everything.
Yeah, I really don't think it's ever too late. Like, if you love what you're doing and it brings you joy, I don't think that should stop you from seeing what you can do, and challenging yourself. But a big part of that comes with like not comparing yourself to other people or their experience. And I think that's where I kind of faltered, because I would worry so much about that. It would get in the way with my play. So just embracing yourself, and your love for the sport and how you play, will take you farther than having that experience.
I love it. Couldn't have said it better myself. Love that. All right. So you played for what used to be called Triple Threat. What did your time playing club, other than what you mentioned, right? You mentioned a little bit about how it kind of exposed you to other talents and what the lacrosse world was generally like in high school. What did it kind of like help you learn when it came to maybe the recruiting process, as you came through?
Yeah, so I kind of went into like club lacrosse. I didn't know there was much beyond that. Like I knew there was college sports, but I didn't really know like the intricacies to it, and like the steps you had to take if you wanted to go to a specific place. So it was kind of like all news to me. And I think me and my dad kind of like he did a lot of the work for me, just like asking me what I want to do. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that these were options for me. Like, oh, I can get my scholarship to like play somewhere. Like that's crazy. So I think our club did a really good job at kind of like showing us the options that we've had and how to like communicate with coaches, and what to expect in the recruiting process. And like during that time, I wasn't like solely set on playing lacrosse. Like I knew that it would be nice in my future, but I don't think I was like as headstrong in it. Like I just didn't really. I don't know if I was even like aware. Like I was just like, oh, we'll see what happens. Like I really like it. Like, but I'm not gonna like base my whole life or like energy off of it. Because I was just worried about like having fun, and playing with my friends. But then as like once I got um during high school, I was like a junior, maybe. That's when I was like, okay, no, this is definitely something that I don't want to leave behind in my life. So just like having a relationship with my club coaches or the director there, I think that was something that I learned, so that they could help you talk through options, how to communicate, give you tips and tricks. I think that was like definitely a big part of it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you have, I guess this is kind of like a double-edged sword question, but Do you have any advice for someone that might be going through the recruiting process right now? Like, what are some things that you feel like from your process that you took away that you would definitely give to someone right now if they were asking about, like, okay, what are some of the most important things you remember? Should I have an open mind? All these things.
Yeah, I think having an open mind is definitely like the biggest thing, and also just like not losing hope in your process if things don't go the way that you expected them to, or like a school that you really wanted to go to, they're not necessarily interested. I don't think I wasn't expecting any calls on September 1st. I don't even think that was like the thing back then. But just keeping your options open and like going to the school based off of the school itself. Like when I went and visited schools, I would be like, okay, can I envision myself here if I got injured? Or which is like funny, because I did. But like would I still be happy here? And just like also not letting any external factors kind of push you into some sort of decision. Like, oh wow, this school is like really, really good, but I might not even like see the field, or like my parents want me to go here, or like all of my friends are committing to like top D1 schools, like I need to do that too. Like it's really about your relationship with the school itself, what you think of the coaches, and how you can see yourself grow. I think that's the really like that's the key thing that matters. Especially like if you could see yourself there not playing, or like visiting and talking to the current players and seeing what their experience is like, and getting a little piece of that like team culture. I think that's what immediately drew me into Drexel, is just like having the team introduce themselves and learning about their experience is also like a big part of it too.
Hey guys, Kylie here. A short break from our conversation to remind you to check in on our social channels. You can find little snippets from our episodes on Instagram at dream.on_pod. And if you're a lacrosse stud looking for a unique way to train and develop into the best version of yourself, like our guest here most definitely has, check out the KO17 Lacrosse app in the App Store. That's KO17 Lacrosse. And at DREAM_ON_POD on Instagram. Come join the fam and we can keep dreaming on together. Okay, enough of that. We back. And the other part of that question was, how did you know Drexel was your spot?
I think at Drexel, like first, like the campus, like I didn't want to go to a school that was like in the middle of nowhere. Drexel's pretty close to where I'm originally from, so it's only about like an hour and a half away. So like wanted more for myself. I wanted to explore the city. We're right in the city of Philadelphia. You can really do anything you could imagine down here, and experience like new things compared to like the suburban life where I'm from. And also just immediately meeting the players and the respect everyone had for one another, and the camaraderie, and like everyone was there for a purpose bigger than themselves. They knew how to enjoy life, have fun, but also like knew how to work hard. We all like came from different places too. Like we're all go-getters. Nothing was really handed to any of us. And I think that part of it just brings so much more motivation into the way you play and the way you view the sport, especially being here. So hearing their experiences kind of really just drew me in, and I knew that that was the place for me. Also, the co-op program was pretty nice.
I love it. All of it, right? Like those are, and as you mentioned in your recruiting advice, right? Like those are all questions you want to be asking, not only like the coaching staff, but also yourself as you go through and check out schools, right? Like where can I ultimately fully, wholeheartedly see myself grow on and off the lacrosse field? So you had some awesome advice there. Thank you for that. All right. So let's get into some setbacks and successes. All right. I know one comes to the top of our mind. You decided to just copy me and tear your ACL last year.
Yeah, it's like so fun.
But I want to talk about some of your successes first. So number one, let's just say it how it is. You're back on the field playing. That's a huge success. So I'm going to check that off for you. But what are some other successes like heading into, maybe they're from high school, maybe they're from earlier in your Drexel career? What are those successes that you're really, really most proud of?
Yeah, I think overall, kind of like a big picture perspective of it is just like how much I've grown throughout these past 5 years. I was kind of merging into like a whole new world. It is a different level, like playing D1 lacrosse, and I guess I didn't know what to expect. But not giving up and kind of just taking my weaknesses and working on them to a point where I'm not even worried about it anymore at this point. And I think that experience has like shaped me into the person I am today. And also just like the opportunity to learn from other people that were in your shoes before you. So like learning from my past teammates, that also really shaped me. And I'm proud of that as well. And then I guess one of that kind of relates to like the growth of our program in general at Drexel. We were kind of a team that no one really knew anything about. We definitely weren't necessarily on the map. We had losing records. And prior to being here, we kind of shifted that into like a winning mindset. Our records were rising. We were breaking records, creating history. We went to the CAA tournament. We won the CAA tournament for the first time in program history my junior year.
Can you tell us about the ending of that game a little
Oh
bit?
man, that was it was kind of a crazy ending. We played Towson, and we were at home, which is crazy. Because we never would expected to play a tournament at our home. So yeah, we were winning by a lot, and then somehow we weren't, and then we were tied, and then we went into overtime, and then we were man up, and then all of a sudden I got a feed from one of my players that just feeds the ball. Like she can feed it to anyone, anytime, anywhere. So I was just like, my stick was up and I got it, and I shot and we scored, and it was just like a surreal moment, like being able to change the change the history of our program, but also like playing for the people that maybe didn't get that opportunity, maybe because it was COVID, and just having people on the team that were a part of that losing record, just be able to like have this moment. I think that was like one of my best memories ever playing here.
Awesome. Sorry to make you tell the story, but I had to tell the people.
Okay.
I love that.
I like shot stick side high too, and like Guido never like I never heard the end of it from her. She was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I was like, I don't know.
It went in. It went in.
Yeah, I was like, "It went in."
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Yeah, but such a fun story. And like you said, like I love how you tied in a lot of the history and a lot of the reasons and the culture behind what's going on inside your locker room, right? I feel like there's different stories to that everywhere you go, every program. So I guess kind of like a follow-up question to that is when you think about your program, when you think about the Drexel team, what are some like traditions or fun things that you guys have going on in your locker rooms? Maybe it's on bus rides. When you, I guess, leave Drexel Lacrosse, like you're going to look back at these memories or these traditions and be like, yeah, that's what we used to do before games or those kinds of fun things.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's such a good question. I'm like blanking, but I know like just one of them is like just I'm sure it's the same across the board with other teams. It's just like that pregame locker room kind of like chaos. Our locker room is like pretty tiny, so we're all right there and you see everything. And each game we have people speak, and you can kind of decide on like a grade to speak, or like you could sign up yourself and if you want to say something about the game. So just being able to be with everyone and hearing them speak about, you know, where we've been and what we're trying to accomplish during that game or just throughout the year. I think that that's the part that sticks with you because all of those feelings kind of emerge. You're a little nervous before the game, or you want to make yourself known as a team, and it's just like those moments I definitely won't forget. And then when the second the speech is over and then like the speaker turns on and it's like some dumb song, it's like so fun. It's just like let those nerves out, let it all out with your team, dance a little, and then kind of lock yourself back in for when you go out on the field. It's like something that, you know, sticks with you.
Absolutely. I love that. I really like that idea of having someone speak too, right? So that it's not always the same voices. Like I think that's really special. Really, really cool. See, I learned something new every time I ask that question. I love that because obviously, like, cool part is you've only ever been in a Drexel locker room, right? So you would never know what it's like in a Stony Brook locker room and vice versa. So I
Yeah.
like asking that question because I think it's really cool. Just to see how other teams like operate and get each other fired up, right? So really, really cool. Thanks for sharing that. All right. So, as mentioned, right, you're back on the field. Take us back, what, a year ago? How far out of,
Oh,
of surgery?
I'm almost at 12 months. So I think I have like 2 weeks until I'm at 12 months.
Oh
Um,
my goodness.
and I keep getting like memories in my Snapchat or like I'm like camera roll. I'm like, oh my God. I was at my lowest low at this point in time. And I'm sure that like you went through the same thing as well. So yeah, I got hurt like the second day of practice. So I was like, oh, I like didn't even get to like see what I could do this year. Like I worked hard over the summer. I had a great prior year. Like I was just so ready to make another impact this year, hopefully. But then like that didn't work out. And the reason why I mentioned I did 1v1s today was that I tore my ACL doing a one-on-one. And I was dodging the crease, got hit, landed weird, it all exploded. And I was like, I think that moment, like I was looking up at the sky and I was like, oh my God, like I knew it. I knew something was wrong and I was more upset over that than the pain itself. Um, all my teammates were like, no, you're fine, you're fine. And then like when I found out that I tore my ACL, they were like, yeah, like we heard the like snap from like 30 yards away. I'm like, oh, okay, well,
Great.
yeah, I was like, I wasn't even like expecting that because my MCL, like I almost tore my MCL too. And I was like, that hurt me more than my ACL. So, and it didn't help. We had like a fall ball tournament that weekend. So like Drexel's weird too, because we always have like a fall ball tournament the first week of practice. We only really have 4 practices.
Okay.
So then I had to go watch fall ball. And I was like, dang. Because I was always excited for this particular tournament. I was like, I was in crutches and like a knee brace, and I was like, oh my God, like this is the worst.
So
So
talk to us a little bit about like, I think we got, original like feelings right then and there. Then when does it kind of click like, okay, I'm gonna lock in here. Like I'm gonna make this happen.
yeah, so it took me probably like about a month, like pre-surgery. It's just like you have to do prehab and stuff, and it's like, oh my God, it's like most of the feelings you have are just like anger and like you're pissed off and you're upset and you're like, why me? And you have to try to like heal yourself before getting surgery and being like hurt again, like not being able to move and stuff. So it's like, oh, this is just so stupid. But as surgery was approaching, I was like, okay, I'm just excited to like get over this hump, and start from day one and like work. And then I had surgery and I was like, oh my God, this sucks. Like, this is not the case. Like, I was in bed for like days. I was in so much pain. I ran out of like pain meds. My mom and my boyfriend like forced me out of my bed to like walk down my driveway in crutches. And then you have the whole like machine that bends your knee. And it's like, there you feel very vulnerable and you feel very alone. And you just want the pain to stop. But then like after a week or so, it's just like, okay, now I'm in control of like what I can do. And I'm in control of like how much work I put in. I mean, I think that's where I started mentally, getting a grip and being like, well, no one's going to do it for you. So you have to do it yourself. And, obviously, I'm sure you've experienced days where you're not making the same progress you were maybe last week, or you're just not feeling great and you're just reminded of like what you're missing out on. It's very lonely. All of my classmates were together and like my teammates were together, but I had to go to PT where I had to go to a doctor's appointment and miss out on like life with them, and the joy that is like hanging out with your friends all the time. um but yeah, it's lonely and you realize like no one's going to do it for you, so you have to go and get it. And if you can kind of build on your goals, short little goals, like week by week, like I want to get this much degree flexion better, or like I want to be able to do like a leg lift or single leg. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah,
It's like PTSD.
I remember chatting with you early on because you're basically like a month and a half after me,
Mhm.
right? Almost 2 months after me. So I wasn't too far ahead of you in the process, and we would always kind of chat back and forth. And um, I think what was cool about it that you just said is like those week by week goals. I think that's important for like any big long-term goal, but especially for this one. Just because like what was cool, at least for me in the journey, was seeing those week by week, like you said, lifting your leg or like bending your knee, like really simple things in the beginning turned into, 5, 6 months out. Okay, today I can jog 10 yards. And then next week I'm running 100-yard sprint. You know what I mean? And then next
Yeah.
week, it started to kind of like amp up to faster goals, if that makes sense, week by week. So like keeping that mindset, I know we talked about it a lot, but that week by week mindset, those little goals that you could just like take the entire week to chase and then be like, okay, I checked it off, or hey, maybe I didn't. Maybe I can take another week and do it. You know what I mean? I think it was really helpful for me. I don't know if you felt the same or if there were other things that you kind of wanted to tap into as you were going through.
Yeah, I feel like that was really important, especially in the like first few months because everything feels so stagnant and it's like the biggest thing is gaining that strength back and that takes a while, so it really doesn't feel like you're really progressing because you feel fine but you still can't do a lot of things. So yeah, making those little goals for yourselves, and if like things weren't going well, like not comparing myself to others, like or where they were at in their journeys, because also like finding people that were going through the same thing as me. Like, so you, for example, I think I texted you like the first thing I like when I found out, I like immediately texted you because I was like, she's the only one that's gonna understand how I'm feeling. So that's helpful. But like I was really late in terms of like when I started running. I don't even think I started running until like 8 months because my quad strength was so weak. Um and I consider myself like a very strong person. So going into it, I was like, oh, I'm gonna kill this. Like I'm strong. Like I'm gonna be able to like get back up real fast. But that wasn't the case. So like learning about yourself and giving yourself grace and knowing when to reset after a week when you didn't progress the way you wanted to and not letting your emotions build up. I think letting it all out, um, crying, venting to somebody, it's like that's honestly how I got through a lot of those tough weeks and just learning to reset on Monday and be like, okay, like we're fine. Like it's not the end of the world. We'll get there.
Yeah, I love it. I think what you said the best so far is like no one's gonna do it for you, right? It's literally your body, like the surgeon can fix the ligament, but then like it's all on you. And I think that's really cool to just like hear you talk about the story back and just kind of like now that you're at this point, right? It's kind of cool to like look back on it and be like, wow, I did get through some really dark, low times, but I did that for me. And like I did it. So like first of all, let's pat yourself on the back, please. Go. Thank you. Okay, awesome. But now I like last question about like this stuff, because I do think it's really important. Unfortunately, we see so many of these injuries in our sport, right? So I know that there's a lot of people listening and getting a lot of really great insight from you right now. But there is other things to you. So we're gonna get to that in a second. What are you feeling right now? We were just talking about this a little bit off air. Almost 12 months out, you're starting to do one-on-ones, you're starting to head back into like real games and stuff like that. Where is your headspace at? And physically, how do you feel? And how did those two things kind of like combine?
Yeah. So I guess what one word, like a positive one, because it's like not always going to be positive thoughts that like creep into my brain while I'm playing, especially like coming back from something like this. But like I'm just grateful and just like remembering like those times where I couldn't even move and like I would do anything to like, even if I'm conditioning, even if I'm doing a really hard drill, like it's like I would do anything to do like a 300 um 6 months ago compared to now. So just like remembering that and learning like not to be so hard on myself during those tough moments, and just like being grateful for that. And just knowing like when I'm physically not feeling it that like it's gonna happen. And to not like base my worth like based off of how I'm playing at that specific moment, especially if I'm not my 100% best. Just not getting caught up in that because it is like really a part of it is like a mental game.
The Edge Pro Plus is the latest complete stick from Brine Lacrosse, featuring thermal lock and resin designed to perform in all temperatures, and ISO warp mesh to help drive the ball right into the sweet spot. Paired with our lightest Edge Pro carbon handle, this stick is guaranteed to help you find your edge over the competition. Check with your local retailer online or in-store to find Brine products. I love it. We talked about this off air, but I think it's, been a lot of similarities, and you have been able to explain some things that I haven't even been able to physically explain about my own journey. So like you said before, if there is anyone out there that's going through this or even a different injury, find someone, in your circle that can kind of relate, and can kind of be there for you as just like a sounding board, right? Does this supposed to feel like this? Or, things like that, I think is really, really helpful, because if you have someone around you that can understand what you're going through, sometimes it helps you feel like your circle gets bigger. We're going to end that ACL talk on that because I'm pumped for you. You're back, baby. And we're so excited to see Allie Drake back on the field with Drexel this year. Yeah, so excited. So, and you did that. Remember that. All right, let's talk a little bit about your values. We talked a little bit there about some of the things that, you're valuing in your own journey right now as a player. But we're going to kind of go through like some quick rapid fire kind of phrases or one word answers. So what are some of the things that you value most as a person?
I would have to say friendship is definitely huge. Effort, the amount of effort you put in, is something that you can control, and just learning from other people, whether that's in your sport, at school, or like professionally. There's always room to learn.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Friendship. That's a great one. Okay. What are some of the things you value the most in a teammate?
Definitely trust. That's a huge thing. Connection. Just being able to like work off each other and know each other's strengths, and respect. Having respect for one another, is huge.
Yeah, I love that. Really great words. Oh, man. Okay. Last one, we're going to talk about what are some of the things that you value most in a leader. So maybe the things that you try to, put out in the world as a leader yourself, or even if you're following someone, what do you value the most in a leader?
Yeah, I would say communication is huge. I think that kind of goes into like a teammate aspect too. Like that's a huge part of lacrosse, and how you communicate with others. I'd say like leading by example, is a big one too, especially if you are like a leader on your team and there's younger people that are trying to learn from you. That's a big one. And then understanding, like being understanding of people and what they're going through, whether that's on or off the field, and being able to connect with those people through that.
Love it. Oh man, you're good at that game. We're going to have to do that again. Okay. So we like to also ask this question to all of our guests. This is kind of like a advice or inspiration, like flip-sided question. So the first piece of the question, is what is some, like maybe one piece of advice or one quote or one something like that you've taken into life from maybe a mentor or a coach or a parent or someone, a special person in your life?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to come down to like not being so hard on myself. I think that takes a lot of the joy away from the game itself and just like your life in general, especially at this age. And I found myself getting so caught up in self-comparison when I first got here, and like doubt that I could make it to this level and play with these people, that it took away from those moments that I found true joy in. So not being hard on yourself and knowing how to get out of that headspace when you're feeling that, is something that you can ask your teammates help with, or like be like, hey, I need you to pull me up here. Like I need you to get me through this practice, or just recognizing your thoughts and feelings, because when you're playing, you're not expressing like feeling those thoughts or negative emotions. Like it's so fun. The sport is so fun. So just loving the sport and not letting those negative thoughts get in the way. I think that's a big one for me.
Oh, I love it. Okay, we're going to flip the script here. If I'm someone who's following you and your journey and I'm looking up to you as a role model, what is something you're hoping that I get just by following you as example?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'd say like I hope that people can take some of my strength with them through my actions like being here, and I also think like communication is huge, like being able to like have fun with someone on the field but also like know when it's time to lock it in, and setting people up for success. I think it's a big one too. This is a good question.
Yeah.
um and just like putting your best foot forward, like working hard, no matter what rep it is, no matter what drill you're doing. I think that that's the biggest thing that you can control. And I say it all the time in our like attack huddles is like, that's what you can control, your like communication and your effort. No matter how bad the play went, or like if you messed up or dropped the ball, I think that's the biggest thing too. And just like don't lose sight of that, even if you're making mistakes along the way.
Love it. I think we can definitely take that from you. And we definitely will moving forward. All right. We're talking a little bit about the future now. Where do you hope to see our sport in 5 years, 10 years? What are some things that you like just absolutely love about the game that you want to make sure that we elevate, or maybe some things you want to change? Where do you hope to see women's lacrosse in the future?
Yeah, I feel like as I've gone through the years at college, like I've just seen this younger generation of lacrosse players, like their skill and their attention to detail and like their effort that they put in. I know there's so many things out there and so many resources for them nowadays, like camps and clinics and training and stuff like that. And I think like there's just like an unbelievable amount of talent in our younger generations. And I hope they can aspire like the new way of playing lacrosse, and that it's just like it's creative and it's fluid, and you're working together and you're solving problems together. And I think that I love seeing that shine in moments where sometimes it can be robotic with, you know, all the systems that you have to do, all the plays, and just letting that creativity and skill shine through. I'm excited to see, as I graduate and move on with my life, which is sad, but hopefully I still have lacrosse a big part of it. And then I just want like the women's game to be on the same playing field as men. So like whether that's broadcasting on ESPN or something like that, just like having the attendance. I know it's gotten a lot better, but I need more of it. Like I need women in the same space as men and the same respect as men, because women's lacrosse has to do an awfully large amount with skill, and finesse. And I think that's like a really hard thing to do, at that level. So yeah.
Love it. Awesome. Okay, well, what's next in the future for Allie? What are you dreaming about these days?
Oh,
What are you thinking about? What is the future for Allie looking like?
I just hope to like continue doing what I'm enjoy, like do what I love and enjoy the process. Whether that's like mid-season slumps or just not really sure about where my future is going or my career is going, just like enjoying that process of like having those options and like being around these people that are going through the same things as you. And like I said kind of prior, just like not taking anything for granted. Because I'm out on the other side, I'd like to say. So just not letting myself get back to those points, or like just really enjoying every moment and being appreciative of the people around me or where I've gotten.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Awesome, awesome advice. You've like given me so much that I can just clip on. Great advice. I love
Love it.
it. Okay. We like to finish with a fun little segment called quick finishes. So kind of like, right and tight, little quick finish. Okay. All
Love
right.
it.
So they're supposed to be rapid fire questions. Some guests take like 2 minutes to answer each question, but it's totally okay. Do whatever you need.
Okay.
All right. You ready? We're just going to get to
Yeah,
know Al. All right. What's your favorite candy?
definitely Sour Patch Kids.
Nice. What's the best TV show in your opinion?
That's such a hard question, but I really liked Game of Thrones.
Oh, good one. What is one of your favorite, or who is one of your favorite athletes to follow for inspiration?
Well, currently probably Jalen Hurts, because he's just so like cool, calm, and collected when amidst like all the chaos and the fans. And it's like, I wish I could be like that. And go Birds, obviously.
I was gonna say you're such a Philly girl. I love it. What is your go-to breakfast meal?
Ooh, sausage, egg, and cheese on a
Nice.
croissant.
On a croissant.
Yeah,
Nice.
fancy.
Fancy. Okay, Starbucks or Dunkin'?
Starbucks. I'm a Starbucks girl.
Okay. What's your order?
I am so basic. I get like a cold brew, like regular cold brew with like regular cream and like maybe like a shot of espresso if I need it. Like I am not like I don't venture out because I know what I like, and if I order something fancy and I don't like it, I'm gonna be pissed. And
Yeah.
it's so expensive. So like I'm not doing that.
Yeah, you can't waste your money on just testing something out. They should do like test cup sizes.
Ah, sample
Like
size.
yeah, sample sizes and like for like $1 just so you could try it.
I'll sample the whole menu.
Right? We just came up with a new idea for Starbucks. Hope they don't steal it. Okay, are you a beach girl or a mountains girl?
Definitely beach, even though I don't tan easily.
That's fair. All right, favorite jersey number to rep and why?
This one's weird. I've had so many jersey numbers throughout my life, and they kind of like never really had meaning. But my soccer jersey in high school was 10 for Messi, so like I'm repping Messi all the way.
I love it. Awesome. I mean, it's a great person to rep right now, always. So, all right. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Oh, morning person. I'm in bed by like 8 o'clock, and all of my like for school, like all of my senior project teammates know that. So like they're not contacting me that late. Like I'm like I'm no, I'm in bed.
Phones on, do not disturb at 8
Yeah.
p.m. Love it. Good for you. How early do you wake up in the morning?
Um, 5 or 6. We have a lot of morning practices.
You're
So
used to it.
yeah, I'm used to it.
Okay, awesome. All right, last but not least, what is one thing on your bucket list?
Ooh, so I want to travel. I haven't really even like left the US except for Puerto Rico or like Canada, and that really doesn't count. That's kind of sad. I want to go to like Europe, and I am going to Europe. I'm going to Prague during winter break for an intensive course study abroad with my teammates, and I cannot wait.
That's awesome. How long are you going to be there for?
I think about like a week. So
Very, and it's
yeah.
this winter break.
Yes, this winter
Nice.
break.
Awesome. Wait, that's so
Yeah,
cool. It's on your bucket list and you're gonna get there in the next couple months. That is
I
so cool.
know. How exciting.
I love that. Do you have any last words of wisdom for our listeners? I think you did a fantastic job today. We got so much good insight from you, but any last words of wisdom that we didn't touch on?
Thank you. I just hope that like you learned something today, if anything. And just to not give up on what you love. I think that's a big thing. And yeah, just find joy in the little moments.
Yeah, I love that. You did say the word joy a lot on this episode,
I
and
think I did, yeah.
but it's good. Not a lot, and like you said it too much, and a lot, and like we can tell that that's one of your core values. And I think that's really, really something that stands out about you and something that I love about working with you and having you as part of this KO17 team. So yeah, thank you for being you, not only here today, but always. Super proud of you for being back out on the field. I know what that takes, right? And I know you've been day in and day out working at that. And thank you so much for sharing all your words of wisdom with our listeners here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been great. And it's always a pleasure talking to you and just like hearing your perspectives of everything because we can kind of bond over our
Oh yeah.
experiences, which is great, I guess.
Always, always, always. All right, you guys, play with joy, have lots of joy, and make sure you find your people. That's what I took a lot of from Allie today. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you on the next episode of the Dream On podcast.
Bye, guys.